Alrighty, so we've got a fun little matchup here. It's Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is on a bit of a hot streak at the moment, to say the least. He was 5-0 in 2020. He's had 10 fights in the last 2.5 years. He's very active. That's an average of a fight every 3 months. He's also coming in with a 2-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. But yeah, this is the first time he's been scheduled for 5 rounds. So, something to watch out for because he does go for a lot of explosive movements and stuff like that. But generally, he's very calm in there, so I don't see his cardio getting drained too quickly, and I don't see the moment getting to him. But also for Derek Brunson, he's on a 3-fight win streak himself. He's not done too bad recently, and he is 37 now. Well, he will be 37 at the time of the fight. So yeah, getting up there in age, but the last thing to go is your power. So that's always what he's really relied on. So yeah. Alright, so let's get into the striking of these two. On the feet, Kevin Holland, he fights super long, likes to keep a good distance between himself and his opponent. He does it very well. He even does it pretty well at the apex, like he's fought in the apex, which is the smaller octagon, which is why I'm pointing it out. And he still seems to have good movement and good, range awareness, and doesn't get caught on the cage too much. But also he's just very loose on his feet. Yeah, he's very loose, good movement, moves around a lot. But yeah, so for Derek Brunson, he also fights quite long. Likes to stay at distance and then come rushing in with one of those blitzing combos. But his footwork compared to Kevin Holland's is definitely very plodding. Something Kevin Holland will look at, maybe kick the legs a little bit, as Brunson is very plodding and, has a little bit of predictable pattern with his movement. But yeah, he's improved his striking defense, which was a problem in his career up until recently, even recently. But still, I think it's improving. It's improving every fight. He keeps his hands up a lot more now. This is kind of after the multiple KO losses he's had a couple of years ago. But yeah, striking defense definitely got better. Alright, so for Derek Brunson, he is a southpaw, comes in rushing with punches from the hips pretty much, with his chin in the air. That's what I'm talking about, the striking defense. I'm more talking about at distance, his striking defense has improved, but still when he's rushing in, there's definitely openings for his opponent to hit him with some good shots. Also, Kevin Holland, he has a nice step in 1-2. He covers a lot of distance with the 1-2, which is why it's very effective even versus orthodox fighters. But I mean, even against southpaw fighters, so that's something he'll be looking at here, as Derek Brunson is southpaw. Also, something Kevin Holland throws a lot against southpaw opponents is the teep, which is very good. And Brunson keeping that high guard at distance, maybe those teeps will get under his guard and, do a bit of damage to the gas tank of Derek Brunson. For Derek Brunson as well, he he's clinching a lot now, being a bit more sensible. So when he breaks from the clinch, he'll throw a flurry of left hands, uppercuts, hooks, and then he'll go back into the clinch. So it's just like, break the clinch, bit of a flurry, bit of a combination, and then back into the clinch, and that's very effective because it's just changing the rhythm of the fight, changing the rhythm that you've set in the clinch, and switching it up a little bit. So that's good because Kevin Holland can be a little lax on the fence clinch, sorry. So yeah, it could be something to look at. For Derek Brunson, he can stay in range after he's landed a combination, and that tends to be where he gets caught. Kind of stays in range, doesn't have the greatest range management slash knowledge, and he can be caught there. Also, he bites on feints a little bit, so in reaction to feints, he generally will go for like a level change. Just kind of disclosing, what he's going for, which is the reactive double or just get onto the hips and start a clinch situation. So Kevin Holland throws a lot of feints. I think more feints in this fight would do him very well here. For Kevin Holland, he on the feet he doesn't check leg kicks, so Brunson doesn't throw too many leg kicks, but the ones he does throw, they're pretty powerful. You can just tell. So yeah, it could be something that Derek Brunson implements here. Because yeah, Kevin Holland doesn't check many leg kicks. In the grappling, it also gets very interesting. So on the mat, Kevin Holland, he is a black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I believe under Travis Lutter. He's very active and scrambly off bottom, so if you take him down, be prepared to not settle on top. Also, he has that guillotine threat when he's defending takedowns. It can be a low percentage move, and in turn he doesn't generally get it. Like that's why it's a low percentage move, and it normally just leaves you on bottom while you're hanging onto the guillotine, and then they can sweep the legs easy. They're in side mount now. They can go for the Von Flue choke or other alternatives. So I don't think it's the best move, and it can get him in trouble in times. For Derek Brunson, he's very strong in the body lock. So once he gets the body lock, he's very strong, very physically strong. You can just tell. And once he gets the body lock or he's in the clinch, he'll go for an outside leg trip, a double leg on the fence. Generally, a lot of his takedowns do come on the fence. He'll, if it's in the open, he'll try and get on the hips and push you to the fence. But yeah, so he'll clinch up after he's blitzing. So that's a good part of his style, that he can enter the clinch and kind of disguise it with that blitz that he throws, because his opponents are so concerned with the power and the combination that's coming towards them that they're not necessarily concerned about the clinch, which is happening after the fact. But yeah, so also he will set up a lot of his takedowns on the fence. He will break from the clinch, throw a straight left, and then enter on the double leg. But yeah, he can shoot from too far away at distance. So when he's trying to get onto the hips at distance, he can shoot from too far away. Also, he doesn't set up his takedowns at distance very well. So yeah, but his wrestling, obviously very good. His takedown defense is excellent, and that's a key. It's been a key attribute to his success in his UFC career. Very hard to take down. He's very strong. He's got considerable power in his left hand. For Kevin Holland, how he kind of wins a lot of his fights is that he's super loose in there. He's super comfortable in a fight. A good example of that is he's chatting shit to Thiago Santos when Santos had mount on him. Like, who does that? That's you're panicking in that situation, and he's like chatting shit to him, laughing. So yeah, you can tell he's super loose. It's incredible how comfortable he can be in there, even in bad situations. But that's also good because it doesn't, drain your gas tank, but also you're not tense a lot. So yeah, and it's not fake too, because he does it every fight. He's relaxed outside the cage. So yeah, he's just a chill guy, I guess. But yeah, crazy at times. He's got a good chin as well. I think that's where his confidence comes from, that he's so durable. Also, he is very tricky off his back with his jiu-jitsu, and he's very active off bottom. So how these guys lose their fights? For Derek Brunson, it's the striking tendencies that we talked about before. Also, his chin is dust. Every time he gets hit, pretty much these days, his knees buckle or he gets dropped. He will tire in high-paced fights in the third round. So this one's going 5, so we'll see how it goes, because Kevin does push a decent pace, but he also cannot push a decent pace. It depends on him, I guess. But also, yeah, Derek, we talked about it before, the predictable movement as well. So for Kevin Holland, how he loses his fights, he can also slow in the third in high-paced fights, especially in grappling-heavy fights. And he has shown poor fight IQ at times. Like, we're talking jumping guillotine on Jacare. Like, I guess it worked out for him in the end, but it's a very low percentage move. And now you've got Jacare on top of you, or in your guard. But he's, yeah, seemed very comfortable and got the job done anyway. Also, I guess he was fatigued in that fight, but shooting on Brendan Allen, where he had such an advantage on the feet, but I guess he just got worn down from the pressure and also the pace that Brendan Allen was pushing. And also just the constant sub attempts or just engaging in the clinch when Gerald Meerschaert was gassed. And just, yeah, engaging in grappling situations with Gerald Meerschaert where you have such an advantage on the feet again. But also his takedown defense, it doesn't look the best in his fights. I get that he likes to play off his back a little bit, but he's not. I can't think of too many fights in the UFC that, well, in this kind of, in the heavier divisions that people finish off bottom. So it's just a low percentage move. So pass to victory for these two. For Kevin Holland, obviously keep distance, stay away from the fence. Those blitzers, maybe look for an angle off uppercut, or it's very dangerous to play the counter game when Brunson's blitzing in. But yeah, maybe just play it safe, let him gas himself out. Look for some angle off counters maybe, or yeah, no, that's not a good idea. What I was thinking. But also those leg kicks those lazy kicks that Brunson throws. If you watch Brunson fight at all recently, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And he just throws these lazy kicks, and they're just so, I'm not sure what's going on with them, but they're very lazy kicks. I get he's trying to gauge distance or something. I'm not quite sure what he's throwing with them, but yeah, look to counter those kicks hard. Especially with a long, two, or also, that orthodox versus southpaw stance, that the battle that will be going on in this fight. So look to get the outside leg, look for those body kicks. If he catches a body kick and starts working for a takedown, obviously try to defend it. And if he's catching it over and over again, then just go for teeps instead of the body kick. But yeah, so for Derek Brunson, look to get Kevin Holland down, especially early in the fight. Kind of drain that cardio, look to stay in top position, blitz to get into the clinch, and then once you're in the clinch, short combination, then a double on the fence, because Kevin hasn't shown the greatest takedown defense on the fence. But also, finish a combination with a kick, because, Kevin Holland, he keeps keeps that high guard on the back foot. So he's also leaning back because he's so tall. He kind of uses like a Philly shell variation for his strike and defense on the back foot. And the legs are open there. He nearly straightens them out on the back foot. So it's something to look out for. But, Derek Brunson not known for his kicking ability. But also, if Kevin Holland's going to give his back to get back to the feet, such as he did in the Brendan Allen fight, look to take it and look for some control there, because Derek Brunson does have good control from the back. I believe in the Edmund Shabazian fight, he controlled the wrestling ride for quite a bit. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong fight. Maybe I'm thinking of the Darren Stewart fight. But I swear Derek Brunson had a bit of control in the body lock to wrestling ride position on Edmund. But yeah, anyway, that's just a thing you can utilize anyway. Alright, so I think Brunson is quite a handful for Holland. I think he's a very strong guy. He's been in there with much tougher competition. He's been there before the main event and all that. But yeah, Kevin isn't like Israel Adesanya, and he's not going to be able to stuff takedowns and keep it on the feet, which is probably where he wants to keep it. So Kevin can use his range advantage and pick him apart from distance. But Kevin isn't that type of guy. Kevin's, kind of the opposite. He will give Brunson the chance to connect on the feet. He'll allow Brunson to blitz in, and then maybe even, tee off him on the fence while he's doing, some rope-a-dope type shit or something like that. But also, just on the mat, I think Brunson won't have a hard time getting him down, especially early. And it's just on there whether he can control him or not. But yeah, Thiago Santos was controlling him fairly easily in their fight, and Brunson has much better top control than Thiago Santos because he's much more focused on control instead of landing hellish ground and pound shots like, Maheda Santos was. But yeah, I just think it's a bit of a tough matchup for Kevin, and like obviously he deserves a step up, and yeah, they're pretty close in the rankings. But I just think stylistically it's a very tough fight for him. So we'll have a look at the lines. But I should say on the feet, I do believe I would edge Holland. Just based on the range and the sharpness of his technique. But I think it's fairly competitive on the feet, and I think Brunson kind of lulls him into that low volume type of fight, and he could definitely hurt Kevin Holland. I think he's probably the most powerful guy Holland's versed. You know, Thiago Santos maybe, but with the hands, I'd probably give the power advantage to Derek Brunson. With all due respect to Maheda. But yeah, so this is the line right now. It's $1.60. I'll bring up the American lines. Alright, so as you can see, Kevin Holland, quite a big favourite. Which was surprising to me, because I definitely lean Brunson overall to win the fight. I get it, because the hype, the momentum that Kevin Holland's got, but stylistically I think there's a tough matchup for him, and it's also a big step up, in my opinion. But yeah, I think Brunson does finish him late. And I think anything over $1.90 or, pick a mods, is value on Derek Brunson. I don't want to bet Kevin Holland at any price. I don't see him getting to a price that I'm going to consider betting him, because I believe this fight is kind of leveled at 55-45 in favor of Derek Brunson. So yeah, I quite like the odds on Brunson at the moment. I'm kind of expecting them to go a little bit higher, so I'm kind of waiting out for that a little bit. But anything over $1.90, yeah, value on Brunson in my opinion.